Good morning. It is the beginning of March and I am on a trail to see a waterfall. Today I am in the middlefork area and I am heading out to Tin Cup Joe Falls, which is a pretty remote waterfall out in this area. It is about 5 miles round trip with about 1,500 feet of gain, but it is supposed to be a bit of an adventure. There's some scrambling and apparently quite a few blowdowns. So supposedly I am in for a full body workout today, but this is supposed to be a great time of year to see this waterfall. So let's get going. This is my first time in the area, so I'm really excited to explore this one. This forest is why I love the middlefork area. It is so mossy. It definitely feels like the rainforest. Everything is just covered in all these beautiful, thick, lush mosses. And it's just so pretty. It's just carpeted with them. Love this valley. I'm doing the flat part of the trail right now because to get to the falls, you follow the middlefork trail for, I want to say about a mile, and then it cuts up to a steep boot path to get to the fall. So I'm doing the easy part right now and then all the gain right at once. But yeah, this part of the trail is gorgeous, and I knew it would be because this area, the whole forest is like this, and it's just kind of magical. Love to get out and see some moss. Well, I arrived at the creek that signals my turnoff to get up a steep boot path to these falls. This is the creek I'm gonna be following up. So this boot path that carries me up, and this is the creek that forms the falls further up. So from here on out, the easy trail is gone, and now I've got steep boot path and maybe some scrambling. The only thing I'm concerned about is how dry the rock is up there, because if it's too slick, then that won't be safe to really walk on. But the forest has been pretty dry so far, at least for the area, so I think I'm good. But now begins the climbing. Well, the reports were right. This trail is steep, rooty, hard to find, and I have been scrambling over my fair share of slippery logs. But boy, how I have missed a trail like this. Just a steep thing up the side of a valley wall in the woods. I don't know, there's just something about these. So it's a good workout, but I'm having fun. This is my kind of boot path. But gotta get up this log. I am, I think, getting close to the lower falls. I've done, I want to say, a third of the climbing, so there are a couple of tiers to this waterfall. We'll see how long it takes me to get a look at this thing. Okay, well, the waterfall is a couple hundred feet right behind me, but to get to the viewpoint to actually see it, I have to cross the creek. And because it's so high right now, there's not really a safe way to rock hop, so I am going to have to wade across. This is gonna be cold. So that was the lower falls, but the best part of this waterfall is just 100 feet higher up this slope. So we gotta do a little bit more climbing, but it looks like it's gonna be worth it. Oh my gosh, so close to that view. Is absolutely worth it to go to the upper falls. I gotta be in the forest a little bit because these waterfalls are roaring. There's no way you'd be able to hear me. But yeah, absolutely worth it. It gets steep. It is a bit of a scramble. This boot path is no joke. No section of it is easy, but wow. That waterfall definitely was a good reward. Perfect time of year for it too. But I am gonna chill at the lower falls for a couple minutes and have my snack before I start tackling this down climb, because it's gonna be arduous and pretty spicy. I survived the creek crossing, and now I have about a mile of pretty much a Pacific Northwest jungle gym ahead of me. I'm not going to film too much just because I want to focus. A lot of slick logs, to be very easy to make a mistake and get hurt. But I will show a couple of points to give an idea of what you are in for should you choose to come up this thing. But yeah, gonna just be staying focused, slow and steady, no mistakes. Well, this spot is a pretty good example of what I wanted to talk about. So you can look around me. Do you see the trail? Do you see a trail? And do you see where I am supposed to go? So that's one of the things is this is an extremely faint boot path. The trail completely blends in, and so you definitely want navigation. So the trail came down this, and then I have to go over this log, and then I have to go over this log, and then the trail will continue. But there are parts where it just disappears completely, so you need to have route finding, but route finding in this kind of environment is very different from route finding in like the Alpine up a scramble or something. And I would say this is more challenging, I think, because it is really hard to see where you came from, where you're supposed to go. So I wouldn't do this without a GPS track. It is so easy to lose the trail and get up into some of this dense brush, and this terrain is actually pretty dangerous. A lot of big dips, slippery logs, very easy to fall, very steep. So yeah, but it is beautiful. Like, this forest is gorgeous. But yeah, that's the first thing. I'll show you the second thing. Up ahead, we're about to hit an obstacle course. We've arrived at the second main obstacle, I would say, on this boot path, which is there are a bunch of downed trees that basically cut it off and make it really hard to see where you're supposed to go for a couple hundred feet. So came out of there, go under these trees, and then I have to get over, like, I want to say 4 or 5 logs. The trail is that way. But again, the really hard thing is that you need to get over all this stuff, but you don't, it's really hard to see where you're supposed to be heading, so you're just kind of climbing over tree stumps. And again, that's where you want the navigation. But this is the most climbing. After this, there's just a couple more logs, so I just gotta get over these. It's not gonna be fun because there's some Devil's Club mixed in, but I survived once, I will do it again. I'm on the last half mile out of here, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. That was an adventure, to sum it up. Tin Cup Joe Falls really was more than I bargained for, but I was definitely prepared. So I guess a few notes. That is a very rough boot path, and it does turn into more of a bushwhack in several places, especially the further up the trail you go, the rougher it gets, the steeper it gets. And it is just kind of a maze. So I would not recommend this trail if you do not have good route finding skills. And, you know, if you are just wanting a trail, and you haven't been up boot paths like that before, I definitely would not recommend this. This is a pretty, I would say, advanced waterfall location. There's just a lot of obstacles between the bushwhacking, the route finding, the scrambling, the creek crossing. You know, it threw a lot at me, but wow, that was definitely worth it. I love a good challenge like that. Great way to start March, and I do love this forest. Middlefork Trail never disappoints. I was like climbing to see this waterfall, but I kept stopping and crouching down and going, ooh, moss. Because the moss here is just so pretty. It just carpets the forest. And I mean, it's just a stunning day. Nobody else is here. It's so quiet. Just the birds and the river. This gorgeous path. But yeah, that was definitely an adventure. Really fun, pretty challenging. I would say don't come unless you have a GPS, and I've done stuff like this before. But if you have, it's worth checking out. If not, just do the Middlefork Trail. It is gorgeous on its own, and there are plenty of beautiful water features here. It's just such a gorgeous forest. Anyway, I gotta get back to my car, go down a very bumpy road, and head on back home. Thank you so much for watching, and here are my favorite pictures from really the climb today. Enjoy.